Justin Herbert has not been a top 10 quarterback so far this season. Now, take that as a keyword right there. So far this season, Justin Herbert is definitely a top 10 quarterback. But if you look at the way he's played this season and the Chargers team this season, he has not been top 10. Just looking at quarterback, if you were to look at quarterback rating alone, Justin Herbert is, I believe, 13th on the list, behind guys like Daniel Jones, Justin Fields, and even Jacoby Brissett. I know not this isn't the best stat to go by, but it definitely supports my case saying that he's not top 10. If you watch this Niners game through last night, you would see that just Herbert has to do a little bit more, especially without receivers. And a lot of people are going to be like, oh, well, it's okay to lose. You're without receivers. You're on the road against a pretty good team, the Niners, who honestly I don't think are as good as people say they are, but that's a different topic. But without receivers, it's fair to lose. But I look at it this way: if this guy's your elite quarterback, which he is, he's a really good quarterback. But he's got to step up and play a little bit better and get the job done. Because this was a very winnable game if you watch full game. Start the game off with a great drive, go up 7. Defense gets you a stop, or I think they let up a field goal. But later on, you'll see they have chances to really put this game away. They didn't score any points in the second half. Their defense struggled in the second half, but played great in the first half. Niners have a good defense, but it's by no means the best defense in the league. They're in statistical categories. The Niners are up there as far as top defense, but the Niners defense in passing yards allowed is fourth, but they haven't had their bye yet. And in my opinion, they really haven't played that many teams, and that's why people think they're as good as they are. But it's a team that you could beat, especially the way the game went. You had chances to win the game, and Herbert and company really didn't capitalize. You'll see a drive later on that they had Herbert makes a nice throw. They have first and goal at the 2. Penalty sends it back. They have some chances from the 7, and they just don't get a touchdown. That makes it. I think that ended up making it 13-3. You scored a touchdown right there. Go up 17-3. That really puts the game away. You add your field goal on later. You're up 20-3 or 20-10 at the end of the half. Instead of just going up 16-10, going up by a touchdown, it just left the door open for the Niners to come back and take the game, which they end up doing later on. And then you see they get 2 chances when they should have only have gotten 1 to put together a game-winning drive, and they just do nothing. And I know he took a vicious hit at the end of the first half, so I'm not going to get mad at him for not scoring at the end of the first half. And I give him a lot of respect for his toughness to come back and put in a good effort at the end of the game. But in my opinion, this loss has got to be on him because the defense gave him his chance. You could have done a little bit more in the first half. Could have done a little bit more in the second. Defense gave you the second opportunity. They're up down 16-19. You don't have the game-winning drive. The defense holds them to a field goal from the goal line, gives you a second chance at producing game-winning drive, and you throw a pick right away. So I'm going to blame this on Herbert, and I'm going to make the claim that he's not a top 10 quarterback. If you want to go through the quarterbacks that you have ahead of Herbert, I'm purely basing on the season. Like I said, Herbert's 13th in QBR. If you switch over to rating, he's falls even more in rating and is 18th in rating. And I'm a big fan of Herbert. I know I've said stuff about him in the past, and people probably don't think I'm a big fan of him. But I liked watching him play at Oregon. I wanted the Chargers to do good, but he's got to be better, especially in games when you're missing players. A lot of other quarterbacks wouldn't get this type of break if they were without their receivers. You still had Austin Eckler, who's a pretty good running back. I know you're going against a good defense, but your defense played better than the Niners' defense and gave you more opportunities to win the game. And the same thing goes to Garoppolo and the Niners. They got to put the game away with that goal line drive and just stop kicking field goals. You got to convert these plays, and that's what's going to separate these teams from being elite teams to non-elite teams, and that's why I wouldn't put the Chargers in the elite team group. For a team that a lot of people thought could potentially win the Super Bowl this year, you got to win games like this. These are the type of games that you could get in the playoffs. A guy goes out, and you got to win the game to get him back for the next round of the playoffs. You get chances from your defense. You can't kick field goals. Got to get 7 and not 3. That's the big thing I'm taking away from this game is elite quarterbacks will find a way to score and win games. Will find ways to score in the red zone and will find ways to win games without their star players. A lot of times it looked like Herbert wasn't stepping up in the pocket. He had the plays he was making early in the game when they were scoring points. He was getting out of the pocket. He was making plays. I know he got hit scrambling, but he's got to do it more and maybe just slide or just get rid of the ball. Extend the play, get out of the pocket. We see what Justin Fields has been doing in the games where he's scrambling more, getting out of the pocket and making plays. That's a big difference. Your offensive line struggling, get out of the pocket, And for a guy like Brandon Staley, who's supposed to be this offensive genius, you got to see more from him. Got to see some better play call. The one play that I personally got really mad at was towards the end of the game. They had that, I think it was first and goal from like the 2, or first and 10 from the 2. And they're trying to make a long drive after the punt. And they had like this concept where everybody was inside. And they ran pretty much all out routes and then a fake out route to a guy come back with a middle. And it's like, what are you doing? You got to. It's a type of situation where you need crossers just to get guys open. You can't be throwing out routes. Almost took a safety. Herbert kind of threw it as he was getting hit. It's just not, for a guy who's supposed to be considered an offensive genius, this is not the play call you expect. You want to see some more intricate play calls, just getting guys open, stuff like McDaniel does over in Miami. All the motions, all the just picks and rubs to get guys like Tyreek in space. You can get other guys in space, do a little bit more. You see the Dolphins all the time get illegal motion penalties just because they're trying to create stuff, trying to confuse the defense. You don't see that watching the Chargers last night. You don't see it from this offense, from another guy that's supposed to be a great offensive mind. Did not see much, especially in a game where you're missing guys. You got to step up. I saw the one play, they ran an end around right into Joey Bosa. Like, what are you doing? Why would you run it to his side? Run it the other way. Eric Armstead was out that night. Run it away from the best defender on the team. It's just a simple idea, and a lot of times you just like this play here. You see him hitting checkdowns instead of getting up in the pocket. You got to get 10. He throws it for 2. He throws it for 7, whatever. He threw it for 2 earlier on a 3rd down. This time you go for a 4th down, you don't get it. It's really seals the game here, and then they get their second chance, and he throws a pick. It's just not what you want to see if you're the Chargers, not what you want to see from Justin Herbert. A game like this where he steps up, and you don't need to have him the best statistical game, but you just need to find him a way to get it won. 6-3 and 5-4, big difference. Chargers fall to 5-4. Really kind of gets them away from the Chiefs, separates them there, don't really get a chance at the division. Luckily for them, the Raiders and the Broncos, who knows what's going on with them, so they'll comfortably be the second best team in that division, but really lose their chance at making a run for the division. I thought Herbert had more in him. You see that he didn't. That's why I'm going to say, so far, based off of this season purely, Justin Herbert is not a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. He's a top 10 talent, but based off this season alone, he is not top 10.